So, mythologically speaking, this is where most of our research is going to go. That and where, like, how Vikings did things. That's pretty easy. It's pretty logical. They were very crafty, but my main concern is that we get the ancient religion right. So, what we have from today is the Poetic Edda, which is a book that was written post Christianization. I think, yeah, Poetic Edda was written post Christianization and has a lot of Christian influences. And it was meant to connect all of the Scandinavian countries and say, hey, we're all Norsemen here. We might not be following the same God. We might, just to have something to ground all of the Scandinavian countries into an alliance. Um, Going off of that, the first mention of Loki doesn't come for a very long time. We see the general gods come up and pop up in art and stuff, but for some reason, Vikings never wrote anything down that was not something for day to day. So they wrote down their names and what they would do every day, but they never wrote down their myths for us. So we don't have a very solid or concrete thing. We do know that Loki, Odin, Freya, Frigg, Thor, all of these things were very present. The things that they did were very present in their lives. And so it's possible that they were the main gods were all worshipped, and then Loki was anti-worshipped or never spoken about. And we can prove this, or we can back this information up with the fact that there's a story about Thor, Loki, and another kid go to a giant's house and they start like trying to figure everything out. And like they're drinking the ocean. We'll tell the story at some point, but the giant that brings them there is Utgar Loki. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Utgar Loki. Yeah. So Loki is actually just, it's like a pronoun or something that you would call someone. So it's like girl or boy or teacher. Except that this word means bringer of chaos. So Uthgar Loki means just like backwater Loki. So instead of actually saying Loki's name, we're saying something that describes him. And this thing that describes him is the chaotic bringer of energy and death and just chaos. So when somebody starts to worship Loki, this is why we don't allow it in camp, is because it's welcoming chaos into our lives. And if you welcome Loki, then you start to bring Ragnarok closer to us, which we don't want, especially because the gods are trying to survive. That is what, let me get this right. Noah, Anna, Tanner, and whoever else got assigned a god, and I would have talked to already, and Selima, we don't want them to figure out that we are the gods. We want to keep them in the dark so that they keep making sacrifices and we can keep getting stronger. That is our main goal, is survival. Because at this point, no sacrifices means nothing. What happens in the plot when Dan falls? We hear the story of Boulder, and for some reason, I mean, I'm going to be like in tears and stuff of like telling the story of Boulder, who is this like the sweetest god and all these other things. The next morning when we see Dan fall off and we see the parallel of him and Boulder, and it sort of strikes us like, oh God, like this is happening again. And we start to see the pattern of Ragnarok again. That is going to be terrifying. That is what I want us to be really scared of when it's stopping the progression of this. So we want to stop the deaths, not because we want to save the humans. Don't care about the humans, whatever humans. We want to save ourselves from the possibility of Ragnarok happening. So the parallels in our universe, these things have already happened. It's not like we're going through the myths for the first time. It's like a glimpses of the past coming back into reality. And the reason why it's happening in this order is because somebody without permission has started worshiping Loki. And they have brought this chaos into our camp. We don't want them there. And our goal is to get rid of them. So on that note, the bringer of chaos, Loki. Let me just catch myself up. Anyways, when it comes to actual lines and things like that we will be doing, so we just dealt with the ghost, and now we're figuring out that it's not the ghosts that we should be worried about, even though we kind of knew, but that there's something else going on, something much bigger. That would be the presence of chaos. And because the gods are more human than they are godlike, or at least by our standards, we are cruel when we don't get our way. I think that's something we can play on. Most of the time, we're good because we want them to like us. We want them to keep following us. They're the regular people. But sometimes the thunder and lightning strike, and they strike to kill. When we feel threatened, we protect ourselves first because we are immortal, and that is how you survive and be immortal. So, there's like a few lines that I would suggest just to give the feeling of that. Just like, when I find out who brought Loki into this village, I will kill them. I will kill them. They brought death and suffering like they've never known before. I will make them suffer. You don't know what you've done. You're not worshiping a man or a being. It's bigger than that. It's the chaotic energy of the entire universe is coming down, crashing onto your head. And if you don't stop it, if you don't fix this, we'll do nothing. We won't lift a finger to help you escape. A human can never stand up to a god. But a god cannot stand up to the powerful energy of the universe. So what if I'm not good? So what if I'm not good? I'm better than that. So what if I'm not kind? I'm kinder than him. So what if I don't care? It's better for me not to care than to actively ruin your life.